So, civil war or frog boiling? I can't imagine America will get passionate enough about it to actually do anything. The people with motivation for change are people who either think things will get better under communism and have nothing else to lose, or are the puppet masters who know life will be shittier post-revolution. That's the point, the tall grass theory. The counter-revolutionaries have awoken, and yes, they would take care of Antifa, but that doesn't change the demographics of the issue. That is a step beyond what most people are ready for. They want to go back to normal. Well, normal is just watching America turn into Brazil. It is happening. All MAGA can do is slow it down. The time for Civil War II was in 1965, when they opened the door to the population substitution game. Antifa foot soldiers don't know what is going on. The middle management has some clue. But some of them still sort of mean well. They want to fight perceived injustices. They see different outcomes and assume discrimination. If only they were in charge, everyone would be equal. History be damned, it will be different this time. You have a history of conflict between different groups of people, over 100 years of problems that nobody wants to address because they'll get called istophobic. But clearly, this little diversity experiment has failed. All the people who say how great it is live in communities away from what they advocate for, because if they did live there, they'd be trying to leave. We're coming up on 100 days of rioting in Portland. Ted Wheeler just sent a letter to Trump saying that they didn't need federal cops intervening. He got ratioed. Even normies look at Ted Wheeler and Kate Brown and they know something is wrong with them. They have an agenda, and it doesn't involve returning the city to peace. Clearly, the riots are not peaceful. So far, 36 people have been killed due to Antifa BLM. LeBron James, AOC, Nancy Pelosi, and whatever retarded pop stars could cool everyone out if they started talking about a new message. Don't fight the cops. That is assuming that we live in a nation. We don't. We live in a commercial zone controlled by an elite cabal of degenerates that are catered to by Epstein types. What do you think the island was for? Not everyone who went there is guilty, but they are a suspect. Doesn't it seem odd that Kate Brown, Ted Wheeler, Jenny Durkin, and the rest are not calling for peace? The mainstream media is ignoring the riots. When they have to report, they literally stand in front of a burning building and call the riots mostly peaceful protests with some fiery elements. Ray Charles can see that there is an agenda. Antifa burned down a dozen black-owned businesses. The media barely covered it. When they did, they floated the idea that it was Trump supporters in disguises who were responsible. The Lugan Press is the true enemy of the people. They are actively destroying the West while simultaneously giving themselves awards for Dan Rather-type courage. The Patriots are starting to wisen up. They're covering up their license plates and wearing masks. You have to play by the enemy's rules. It's a sad state of affairs that patriots have to go to parades armed, but that's the world that the Democratic mayors have created. When the Democrats have events, the right leaves them alone, but when it's the reverse, Antifa will attack, and the liberal mayors allow it to happen. When will Ted Wheeler do a press conference and disavow Antifa and BLM as the terrorist organizations they are? Last week I would have said never, but the Biden-Trump polls came out today. Biden is in deep trouble. They are tied neck and neck, and that part isn't important. The important part is the trends. Biden is dropping like a Led Zeppelin, and Trump is rocketing upwards. A couple of things are at play here. One, Biden doesn't sound good. He doesn't sound healthy. He can barely string a sentence together. His team know that, so they hide him. When he needs to do press talks, he puts together a jump cut video, and it's obvious that there's a lot of jump cuts. So even edited, it sounds like his brain is leaking out of his ears. He is in no condition to be running the most powerful military on earth. And two, normies are seeing liberal cities burn. For 3 months, they have destroyed statues, attacked people, and burned small businesses. Keep in mind that BLM and the Antifa Black Bloc started under Obama. Even middle-of-the-road people know that Biden cannot do anything to stop it. Biden and Obama are what got us into this mess. It's liberal cities that are burning. It's not Republican areas. We don't want more liberal areas. People just want to grill. But I'm glad that this soy-filled revolution is happening now. It should have happened 50 years ago, but maybe right now, due to social media, is the only time that right-wing groups can assemble. Because social media allows us to bypass the alt-left media and organize our own events. People on the right have been ignoring Antifa. Why would they get involved? That's what the police are paid to do. Of course, America woke up to the fact that the police obey the mayor. The mayor tells the police to allow Antifa free reign, even when they're burning police stations. The cops are just abandoning everything instead of simply yeeting the rioters. That would have stopped the riots months ago. 36 people have been killed by these rioting organizations because the cops didn't stop this in the beginning, which is the fault of the mayors and governors in blue cities. Ted Wheeler should be in prison on federal charges. Right-wing meetups are pretty rare because we usually express ourselves at the voting booth. You get guys like Kyle out there with a 223 and a medical kit because he was trying to protect his family's car dealership and offer EMT services. He was there to save a business, not to fight Antifa. Antifa outnumber the right-wing guys 100 to 1. The whole psychology of the two groups is different. Antifa goes out in helmets and shields. They're there to cause violence. Peaceful protesters don't bring shields. Criminals do. MAGA guys don't counter Antifa's right to protest. They hold MAGA events that Antifa attacks. The Patriots have permits. Antifa doesn't. Antifa want to take away your right to free expression. The Patriots don't. BLM is mostly there to loot Nikes in the name of reparations. At the MAGA event yesterday, Antifa called out a guy with a blue line flag and executed him and ran away. The victim and a lot of people still think that they're living in a first world nation where political discourse is respected. Anderson Cooper and the rest have been calling Trump a Nazi for 4 years. They call his supporters deplorable racists. For 4 years, these drug-addicted idiots have been brainwashed by the media. Years ago, I used to think that the media would sell its soul to sell ad space, but I was wrong. These people are not primarily interested in money. Their goal is controlling the narrative. They are globalists. They are pure evil. Their goal is genocide. If it wasn't for social media, people would think that Antifa riots were peaceful. They wouldn't understand how fast America is going to hell. It's happening because the blue mayors are letting it happen. They're hoping the media continues to ignore it, but Biden's poll numbers have fallen off a cliff. Biden had a huge lead that he threw away. They are crossing over right now. In a few days, Trump will be ahead, and unless there's a miracle for Biden, he is going to lose in a landslide. In a few days, I predict that Biden's people will put pressure on Wheeler to stop the riots, or at least he should, but Biden's team seems as incompetent as Sleepy Joe. If you've seen Biden's live streams and events, they have been a technical mess, and he's got an event tomorrow, so, oh, God, I can't wait to see that. The guy was murdered last night because the murderer was, of course, a madman, but also because the victim didn't understand how dangerous Black Bloc is. Over 30 people died so far, but I think that this was the first random execution in the name of politics. There were 2 stabbings the other day where some black guys decided they wanted to kill some white people, but last night's shooting was expressly political. A man with a black power tattoo on his neck executed a guy who had a thin blue line patch. So get this through your head. This is the new normal. Don't go to these events alone. Keep together and stay armed. It's very difficult to take down 2 armed guys with situational awareness. I was thinking about whether it's worth it to go to MAGA events. But if we don't, because we're scared, then we've lost the country. We may as well just give up. We would be letting political pressure from terrorists change elections. If we don't fight back, we're no longer citizens. We have given up and become slaves. If there is conflict, at least it shows people that there is a problem with Antifa in liberal cities. Antifa has a much higher percentage of mentally ill and drug-addicted people. The 3 guys Kyle shot were felons: Rosenbaum, Krauts, and Huber. One was a wife beater. One was a child abuser, as far as I can say on YouTube, who spent 12 years in prison. And one was a thief. What are the odds? Well, at an Antifa riots, the odds are good that you will find child abusers, wife beaters, and felons. Literally 3 out of 3, 100%. People who seek conflict don't do it in a vacuum. They have a record of it. I don't think you're going to see a lot of MAGA guys going as counter-protesters. They rightfully believe that that is what the police are paid for. And, you know, if you're paying taxes for police services and the police are letting your businesses burn down and people get shot in the street, then why are we paying taxes for police services? Plus, they know not to interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. And right now, Black Bloc is absolutely destroying Biden's chance. Actually, it's probably all over for Biden. His dementia is not going to get better. And even if the left wanted to call off their golems, I don't think they could. I think it's gone too far for that. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, guys, and I'll see you all next episode.